Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we speak to the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Mr. John Robinson. We want to talk about issues to do with the exchange rate, interest rates, but don't turn us off. We're going to be interesting. We want to talk about issues which are of importance to you, issues which are critical to know. We thank you for your company. Mr. Robinson, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
On Issues and Answers. First, what is the role of the Bank of Jamaica?
The Bank of Jamaica is a central bank. Its principal objective is to oversee stability in the financial system and to foster those conditions that can lead to stable inflation. So a principal objective in terms of monetary policy is to foster low and predictable inflation. We also have another important function, and that is to support the stability and the integrity of the financial system, the banking system, protecting your deposits, keeping the system safe.
Yes. And our system has come in for praise from the international community because of the legislative and other changes which have been made in the last number of years, certainly since the financial crisis of the 1990s.
Yes.
A lot of reforms have taken place.
That was a costly episode,
Yes.
and it led us to implement reforms to prevent it ever happening again. So systems have been tightened, standards have been raised, and the banks are now well capitalized to take us forward.
Yes. And even the International Monetary Fund has made reference to our financial system and to the stability of our financial system.
Yes, we are cited often as the way to do things in that respect.
Yes.
We boast, with all the other problems we have, a banking system that is well capitalized, stable, profitable. Some people would scoff at that because it comes at somebody's expense. But it works well, and the intermediation is satisfactory.
Yes, and certainly in terms of the regulations that exist in Jamaica, we are advanced.
Yes, we are fully integrated into the world financial system, and so we have to observe all those standards that apply to the first world banking systems. Some call it, oppressive. Some call it detailed, intrusive, but it all leads to further strength in the financial system.
Yes. It keeps us some experience in a system collapse.
And shocks.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of the exchange rate, Deputy Governor, there are some who feel that the Bank of Jamaica could be doing more, that the Bank of Jamaica could be intervening more in the system to keep the exchange rate firmly at one place, certainly to have kept it from reaching the $100 to one mark. What's your response to this, the role of the central bank vis-a-vis the exchange rate?
Right. We are committed as a country, as policy, to have a flexible exchange rate, one that is market determined every day in interbank trading as supply and demand contend. We believe it is a very good system for allocating resources. It doesn't rely on somebody determining a rate and determining when to change it, because our experience has been that has led to overvalued parities, and as a result, our trade has suffered in that regard. We have spent quite a bit of money supporting stability in the system over the past, between 2011 and 2012. You recall that our reserves at one point were over $2 billion.
Yes.
And we expended quite a bit of those reserves in supporting stability in the market.
Yes.
In a context where we were in the middle of a negotiation with the IMF and we wanted to settle, to allay a lot of fears and uncertainties. In that context, however, the current account widened dramatically to about 14–15%. Last year it was about 12% of GDP. So there is a need for some adjustment to take place in relative prices. Imports can become artificially cheap if the exchange rate is not aligned to demand and supply. So that process of correction has started, and we do have a role in controlling order in the market.
So the BOJ keeps a close eye on what is happening.
We do.
And hasn't just left the system like that. We want to continue to explore those issues. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, John Robinson, speaking to us about some of the crucial economic issues. We take a break, but we'll be right back.
Join the fight. Quit smoking for life.
Welcome back. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, John Robinson, speaking to us about issues under his portfolio, issues to do with the economy. So the exchange rate, we should be assured that the Bank of Jamaica is observing things. The Bank of Jamaica is keeping its fingers on the pulse.
Safeguarding order in the system. There is no benefit to having a runaway and disorderly conditions in the market. We intervene as necessary to restore order, but we're not there to set a rate or predetermine what a particular rate should be.
Yes, because it's a market-determined rate.
It is.
We are operating in a fundamentally market-driven economy.
Fundamentally market-driven. The earners of foreign exchange sell those proceeds to banks and other intermediaries, and people who need foreign exchange approach their banks and make arrangements. A price is struck. Every day it's different. On an average, an average emerges, which we publish. Just gathering information from all the players and publishing that rate. That rate is then recognized as the average exchange rate prevailing for that day.
Yes.
If there are shortfalls system-wide, we step in to add to the supply. If there are, funds which nobody needs, we buy.
Yes.
And that way we build reserves and have the wherewithal to intervene later on.
Deputy Governor, how well are we doing in terms of inflation?
We're doing pretty well, I would say. I recall in the old days when I couldn't have said that. I've been there
We're in double-digit inflation.
Triple digit too.
Triple digit.
I've been there long enough to see inflation go above 100% in a year.
Yes.
We've been down in the single-digit area. We've been hovering below 10 or around 10 since the mid-90s.
We were 8 last year? Was it
yes. 8? And we expect to be in the region of 8.5 to 10.5 this year, depending on the impact of certain adjustments outside of our control. The expectation of low or single-digit inflation is important to market players.
Yes.
It helps to determine what rate of interest is acceptable to savers and how much banks can reasonably charge for loans. And that prevailing rate of interest helps to drive investment decisions so that the preservation of low inflation is an important platform for supporting growth and stability in the economy.
That's important. Why is inflation control so critical? Why does it matter so much that we have low inflation rates? Make that connection for us,
Right.
Deputy Governor.
When you save and you earn a predetermined or pre-agreed rate of interest, if inflation goes beyond that, you would have lost purchasing power. And you would then have an incentive to put your money into something else. Once that chain is broken, where you don't want to save, then banks have less resources to lend. The foundation of the intermediation process, the trust, the expectation of a fair reward for savings and a fair reward for lending as earned by banks, gets broken. So that low inflation, quite apart from the welfare effects of preserving the lifestyle of people on fixed incomes and not eating it away, by transferring it to people who can better preserve their
low inflation
position.
Stimulates investment.
It does. It creates an atmosphere of stability and predictability in which investments have a better chance of thriving. It encourages saving, therefore creating a pool of loanable resources, which then is a foundation for what we in a private sector driven economy drives investment.
The Deputy Governor of one of the Deputy Governors of the Bank of Jamaica, John Robinson, speaking to us on Issues and Answers. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Boyne wishing you a pleasant day.